Sri Lanka Medical Association.
brightness that emanates from an oil lamp symbolizes wisdom, hope, and knowledge. Thus, the traditional oil lamp that dispels the surrounding gloom is an integral element of Sri Lankan culture. I now call upon the following dignitaries to light the lamp of learning and mark the commencement of this historic occasion. Dr. Vinya Ariyaratne, the incoming President of the Sri Lanka Medical Association. Professor Samat Dharmaratne, the outgoing President of the Sri Lanka Medical Association. Dr. Ananda Vijay Vikrama, the President-elect of the Sri Lanka Medical Association. Mr. Janaka Sri Chandragupta, the Secretary to the Ministry of Health, Sri Lanka. Dr. Alaska Singh, the WHO representative to Sri Lanka. Ms. Trina Haq, Practice Manager in Health, Nutrition and Population Global Practice of the World Bank. Ms. Azusa Kubota, the United Nations Development Programme Resident Representative in Sri Lanka. Dr. A.T. Ariyaratne and Ms. Neeta Ariyaratne, parents of the incoming President. Professor Rajendra Surendikumaran and Dr. Achala Balasurya, Vice Presidents of the Sri Lanka Medical Association. Dr. Lakshman Ranasinghe, representing the past presidents. Dr. E. A. Sajid Edirisinghe, the Secretary of the Sri Lanka Medical Association. Dr. Preeti Vijay Gunawardena, Public Relations Officer of the Sri Lanka Medical Association. Dr. Pramila Sena Naika, Social Secretary of the Sri Lanka Medical Association. And Dr. Sumitra Tisera, Treasurer of the Sri Lanka Medical Association. May I invite the following dignitaries to grace us at the head table: Dr. Vinya Ariyaratne, the incoming President of the Sri Lanka Medical Association, and Professor Samat D. Dharmaratne, the outgoing President of the Sri Lanka Medical Association. Thank you. You may take your seats now. Once again, a very good evening and a warm welcome to the induction of the new president of the key national body that brings together all medical professionals across the country, the Sri Lanka Medical Association. Without further ado, let me call upon Professor Samath D. Dharmaratne, the outgoing president of the Sri Lanka Medical Association, to address our esteemed gathering.
Good evening. Begin. All right, okay. Okay. Dr. Vinya Ariyaratne, incoming president of the Sri Lanka Medical Association. It's a great honor and a privilege to speak at this 129th presidential induction of the Sri Lanka Medical Association. Dr. Vinya Ariyaratne, incoming president, past presidents of the Sri Lanka Medical Association, Board of Trustees, members of the Council of the Sri Lanka Medical Association, members of the Sri Lanka Medical Association, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. So I was the president for the past 1 year, and here I will try to tell you what I did. For some this might be a repetition, but this is our tradition. It was a great honor and a privilege to be the 128th president of the Sri Lanka Medical Association, the oldest medical association in the Asia Pacific. The theme for this year, last year 2022, was planetary health and global health security. And before I start, I want to make special thanks to these people who were with me, who helped me, who basically took SLMA and take charge of the SLMA last year. Professor Ishan Disoisa, Honorary Secretary of the SLMA, Professor Anuja Bedira, who was the one past president, Dr. Suranta Perera, the other past president, Professor Bannayaka Hasini, Honorary Treasurer, Dr. Cristo Fernando and Dr. Pramila Senanayaka, the two social secretaries, Dr. Preeti Vijayagunawardena, the public relations officer, Professor Kumara Mendis and Dr. Sumitra Tisera, that's two SLMA newsletter co-editors, Dr. Anuruddhika, Assistant Secretary, Dr. B.J.C. Perra, who basically looked at everything that went out of the SLMA. He was basically expert on documents, past president and the council member for last year. Thank you very much, sir. And Dr. Hasini Fernando, who was there everywhere in the last year and helped tremendously in the basically organization and conduction of our last annual academic sessions. Again, ladies and gentlemen, just bear with me because I want to give a little bit more thanks to these people. Dr. Professor Ishan Disoisa, my honorary secretary, very nice person who never gets angry, and he's a tower of strength. When you look at him, you don't basically see that, but he's there and he never kind of get perturbed by anything. Thank you, Ishan, who is not here today. And then the two very important people, last year, Professor Anuja Bedira, she was actually my batchmate and a very, very respected person in Colombo Medical Faculty, very senior anesthetist. And thank you, Anuja, for basically coming with me last year and helping me. And then the other person, Dr. Suranta Perra, who's a very active, energetic pediatrician. Again, thank you for helping me. She was with me. And these two were the people who basically conducted the last year's annual sessions. And then the person who had the money of the SLMA last year, Professor Hasini Bannayaka, who basically did all the accounts and kept SLMA running. Thank you, Hasini. And then a very two important people, Dr. Pramila Senanayak and Dr. Christopher Nando. We are not only an academic organization, we have social activities, we dance, do various things. So these two people were in that sphere the most important. Dr. Christopher Nando organized the doctor's concert, and then Dr. Pramila Senanayak basically organized the dance where everyone danced. So that's done. Then Dr. Preeti Vijayagunawardena, who was our public relations officer last year. Thank you, sir, for taking this responsibility and coming with me last year. And then the two editors, Professor Kumara Mendis and Dr. Sumitra Tisera, who produced 12 very nice newsletters last year. And then Assistant Secretary Dr. Anuruddhika Ratnayaka, who basically helped us in all the keeping minutes and council work. And then I told Dr. BJC Perra, who everyone knows I did my internship with him, so that is how long our relationship goes. And thank you very much, sir. You basically was always there. You never got, angry or anything. You always said, thank you very much. And then Dr. Harini, thank you very much, because you were there everywhere, always supporting me and all of us. Thank you again. So again, you'll have to bear with me a little bit, and the incoming president also. So this, I have to thank these people, and then I go back to what I did, what we did, what the SLMA did, and what the council and the SLMA did last year. With a true sense of joy, fulfillment, gratitude, and satisfaction, I present to you today the SLMA's journey in 2022. So what happened? I and the council of the SLMA, you might remember, started our tenure of office in the aftermath of COVID-19. It was still there. We were also there, and then we started with this kind of scared, but we continued, and with its devastating mortality and morbidity still in there. Again, you might know that they have started looking at it because it's again coming up in the world. And then the induction like this was held last year on January 16th at the Cinnamon Grand Hotel. The induction, so I was made the president, like what I'm going to do today, to Dr. Vinya Ariyaratne. And then all of you can remember we had a kind of troublesome period in the country. We had the economic crisis, then social disturbances, lot of things happened. So all these basically affected last year's work because we couldn't move, we couldn't go anywhere. Then people were scared, there were a lot of problems. And then the fuel shortages with long queues, we were kind of, some people are even having nice times in the queues, but all this affected what we tried to do last year. So this is why I'm trying to tell you this. So basically, we didn't have the full year to work last year, the council and I, of the SLMA. Then we started, actually, we usually have our religious ceremony. So on January 3rd, 2022, all basically religious leaders came to this. On January 3rd, 2022, started our work with that. Then I will tell you a little bit about our academic work. We had 7 orations, all annual things last year. So these are some of the pictures of the orations and the orators. Several monthly clinical meetings, and then large number 2 therapeutic updates on anxiety disorders and on migraine, and then 2 joint clinical meetings. We couldn't go out of the Colombo last year that much because of all the issues, and we had 2, one with the Kalboiler Teaching Hospital and the other with the Colombo with the ASIR group of hospitals, 2022. And because all these things were happening, I was forced to issue media briefings, media statements, and to talk to media, basically tell the SLMA stand on what was happening. Sometimes basically I was forced to issue statements also, but Democratic Society, so I had to do because it was a council's thing. So this is some of the media briefings. These were not only on government things, but on nutrition, on how we were going to address things at the queues, because people were dying because they were staying in one place. Then on other medical issues, plus sometimes the effects on health due to all these things that happened last year, and what as an organization, the premier medical organization in Sri Lanka and Australasia, what our opinion, what we did, what we wanted people to do, and what we wanted the government to do. So these were on the media briefings. And then Saturday talks every Saturday at 7 p.m. through Zoom. We had a talk on medical topics, mainly geared at medical students. This was started by the previous past president, actually, Dr. Padma Gunaratne, and then we continued. We actually had this every Saturday. This is only a sample of it. Every Saturday with all the problems we had. Again, thank you very much, Dr. Suranta Pera, because this basically he single-handedly did this. And then we had seminars, lectures, symposia and workshops last year, and these are some of the those leaflets that we distributed on this. All again health topics mainly, and also on other topics which were relevant to the health of the people of the country. And then these very small, purposefully, because you can't read them now, these were media statements we issued last year on various issues, because on our constitution it says it is not only health directly, but if the health of the people of the country is affected by anything that happens in the country, SLMA has a responsibility to basically talk about it, tell about it, and tell what we and the others can do. So these were basically on those aspects. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you might remember we had a very tremulous, troublesome period last year, and these were some of the things we did to address, mitigate, and kind of stop these issues last year. And then you can remember last year, I think at the start of the year, we had a problem with the health crisis, and then we ran short of money as well as drugs in the health sector. So then the council advised me with the past presidents to basically start this relief fund. So we started, a lot of people helped, and then we distributed, we gave to colleges, and then the health ministry money as well as donations of medicines and equipment to at least help the health sector as well as the government to address this crisis, and then to help the people of the country to basically address this issue. Then we had our main international academic thing, which was the 135th anniversary International Medical Congress, had it in this BMICH, this same hall, and this basically culminated. I'm not going to talk about talk about anniversary conference. Then this basically finished with one of our main social events, Doctors Concert. As the name implies, doctors come and sing, dance and show their talents. This was organized by Dr. Christo Fernando. Thank you very much, Christo, for taking the sole responsibility and doing it with the full help of Dr. Pramila Senanayaka. And this is where basically the SLMA felicitated Dr. Christo for doing this continuously, using his resources for about large number of years. Thank you, Christo. And then these are foundation institution, again one of our annual events. This usually happens in the SLMA auditorium. This happened, and it was with the E.M. Vijayarama endowment oration, which was delivered by Dr. B.J.C. Pera, and then we had another oration the other day, 2-day event, again SLMA auditorium. This is we had last year. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we had a real dance, because dancers, all the dancers apart from the medical dance, you had to go and beg people to come and dance. But this dance, they didn't allow anyone to even make any sort of speech or any announcement. They started dancing from the beginning, continued to dance, and then we had to forcefully stop it at about 1 a.m. because if we continued, most probably the hotel would have chased out away. Whole idea was Dr. Pramila Senanayaka, Madam, thank you very much. She was there from the beginning to the end, supervising this, monitoring this, and making it a huge, huge success. Thank you very much. I had this feeling that we were kind of didn't have enough dancers before that, maybe because of COVID, then people wanted to dance. So that is one of our things, and this was mainly by attended by medical people majority. And then we had the law medical cricket match. I'm not going to tell you about the result of this, but another annual thing, and this basically finished, and then I finished my term. Newsletters, there were 12 produced by the 2 editors and the committee, which was very nice things, and again thank you very much. And council photo, thank you very much council for all the people I didn't specifically mention. It is not because that you are not shouldn't be specifically mentioned, but because of time. And thank you very much again for helping me, being with me, criticizing me, then agreeing, disagreeing with me, and giving me a very nice time, a very huge experience last year. And again, I should thank all the past presidents, because past presidents are our basically foundation, our tower of strength, who are very respected, senior people who's always there. They never forget to criticize you, shout at you, and then also guide you when you try to do something smart or kind of foolish. So thank you very much, Madam, Sirs. Most of them are my teachers at one point in time. Thank you very much again, and I hope you continue to keep the SLMA there with your advice and sort of support. And Dr. Vinya Ariyaratne, incoming president. So I basically was elected, and today, actually he is the president, but our tradition makes it today we induct him. He has all the power now, but today I will induct. And thank you very much, Vinya, because he, as the president-elect last year, was another support I had altogether. I will tell about him a little bit later, our basically relationships and friendships. And then I basically brought, this is not only we had a lot of expert committees in the SLMA, and I thought basically I will try to tell that also, but I feel looking at your faces, you might not be very kind of, or it might not be a very conducive thing to do now. So there are a little bit more slides which I am not going to speak about. Please allow me to go fast through them and finish this off, because I think it's getting a little bit dragged on, but we have a lot of committees. But this is something I started by saying, I and the Council of the Sri Lanka Medical Association lost valuable time due to various problems and issues that were there in the country during our tenure. So our achievements would have been even greater and more substantial if only we had the usual complement of a full year, uninterrupted by many an unavoidable occurrence over which we had very little control. And then this I will go fast. So, but this is all what we did last year, all what the expert committees did. But I'm not going to read them individually. And so that is not the only thing the SLMA last year did, but all this happened during last year. And let me conclude with wishing Dr. Vinya Ariyaratne, incoming president, and the Council of the SLMA for 2023, my compliments and heartfelt wishes to all for New Year 2023. And then this is our office staff. So if I don't thank them, they might get a little hurt and angry with me. So Jayarani, Nirmala, Nadisha, Nadira, Akil, our new IT expert, Justin and Samarratne with Raja. Thank you very much for helping us, making us happy, giving us tea and looking after us last year. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks for bearing with me, and enjoy the night, and best wishes to the new council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We have a special performance tonight by an artist who has received many national and international awards, and whose soothing voice has won the hearts of many. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Visharada Jagat Vikramasinghe. A brilliant performance indeed. Now we move on to a much awaited item on the agenda for this evening, the induction of the President. May I invite Professor Samat Dharmaratne to introduce our incoming President, Dr. Vinya Ariyaratne.
Thank you, Riska. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Vinya Shantidas Ariyaratne. Dr. Vinya Ariyaratne is a board-certified specialist in community medicine and is a past president and fellow of the College of Community Physicians of Sri Lanka, CCPSL. He currently serves as the president of the Sarvodaya Shramadana movement, which is Sri Lanka's largest non-governmental grassroots development organization. Vinya Shantidas Ariyaratne was born on 24th July 1962 as the second of 6 siblings to Dr. A.T. Ariyaratne and Mrs. Neeta Ariyaratne. Dr. Ariyaratne had his primary and secondary education at Nalanda College, Colombo. He obtained Doctor of Medicine, MD, degree from the De La Salle University in the Philippines in 1989 and a Master of Public Health, MPH, degree from the Johns Hopkins University in the United States of America in 1990. He also holds the degree of Master of Science, MSc, 1996 and Doctor of Medicine, MD, in Community Medicine in 2003 from the Postgraduate Institute of Medicine of the University of Colombo, Sri Lanka. He was a visiting fellow at the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, United Kingdom in 1992 and a Chevening Fellow at the Nuffield Institute of the Faculty of Medicine and Health of the University of Leeds, United Kingdom, where he obtained with distinction the postgraduate certificate in health management, planning and policy in 2006. Dr. Ariyaratne started his career as an intern medical officer at the government hospital in Polonnaruwa in Sri Lanka in 1990. After spells of overseas fellowships and training in public health, in 1995 he joined the Faculty of Medical Sciences of the University of Sri Jayewardenepura as a lecturer in community medicine. As a founding member of the Department of Community Medicine and Family Medicine, Dr. Ariyaratne worked enthusiastically with his seniors and peers to help design and implement the teaching curriculum of this newest medical faculty to be one which embodies excellence, grounded in the community, and which produces an ideal medical graduate for the 21st century. After serving in the academia for 5 years, he decided to join the voluntary non-government development sector, with which he has had a lifelong association. In July 2000, Dr. Ariyaratne resigned from the University of Sri Jayewardenepura and became the executive director of Sarvodaya, the position he held up to December 2010. As the executive director of Sarvodaya, Dr. Ariyaratne was responsible for the implementation of the island-wide integrated community health and development programs of Sarvodaya through a network of over 50 district centers and training institutions with a full-time staff of over 800. Through Sarvodaya, Dr. Ariyaratne developed numerous innovative community health programs working closely with the government sector, universities, professional colleges, as well as other civil society organizations. He has been extensively involved in health and development programs related to the war-affected communities in Sri Lanka. In the early 1990s, at the height of the separatist war in Sri Lanka, he initiated a novel program to address the psychosocial effects amongst children affected by the war. This program, which adopted the community-based, non-medicalized approach to healing, helped thousands of children belonging to all ethnic groups to recover from the trauma of war. He was also associated with planning and delivering services for the internally displaced persons, IDPs, and continues to work on health issues related to war-affected civilian populations. After the tsunami disaster in 2004, Dr. Ariyaratne was responsible for the overall coordination of the Sarvodaya emergency response and later the entire reconstruction program, which is one of the largest tsunami recovery programs in the country with a portfolio of projects worth over $15 million. In recognition of his dedication to humanitarian causes and peace initiatives, in February 2007, Dr. Ariyaratne was awarded the degree of Civil Law, DCL, honoris causa by the University of Durham, United Kingdom. When the large displacement from the northern province took place in early and mid-2009, Dr. Ariyaratne was coordinating the humanitarian relief efforts of Sarvodaya to assist the Health Ministry, the UN agencies and humanitarian organizations to provide services to the large numbers of IDPs. Dr. Ariyaratne was in the planning team to design the country funding proposal to Global Fund to Fight AIDS, Tuberculosis and Malaria, GFATM, in 2003, and the establishment of the country coordinating mechanism. He was extensively involved in the implementation of GFATM programs as the head of Principal Recipient 2, PR2, from 2004 to 2012, these interventions contributed significantly towards the elimination of malaria in Sri Lanka. Dr. Ariyaratne has extensive experience in working with government bodies, UN agencies, multilateral agencies such as the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank, national and international non-governmental organizations, as well as the private sector in matters related to public health and national development. He serves in senior government advisory committees. In 2016, he was appointed by the University Grants Commission as a member of the Council of the University of Moratuwa. During his tenure from 2016 to 2019, he served as a member of the academic committee to establish the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Moratuwa, which is now operational as the newest Faculty of Medicine in Sri Lanka. For over 25 years, he has also actively contributed to global public health discourse, working closely with the World Health Organization, especially in macroeconomics and health, primary health care, pandemic preparedness, social determinants of health and community engagement. Dr. Ariyaratne is a past president of the College of Community Physicians of Sri Lanka. He has extensive teaching and research experience in community medicine and has contributed to numerous peer-reviewed publications and books. Some of his most recent and most important contributions include COVID Pandemic and Vaccine Equity in Sri Lanka by Vinya Ariyaratne in the South Asia Alliance for Poverty Eradication, SAAPE, Kathmandu, 2022, SAG Handbook of Social Studies in Health and Medicine, 2nd edition, Chapter 10, Community Engaged Learning, Community Health and Learning through Service in Sri Lanka, S. Glaucher, Evan N. Wang, Vinya Ariyaratne, T. Ramiria, Sage Publications 2022, COVID-19 Global and National Response, Lessons for the Future, Chapter 3, pages 56 to 63, Management of COVID-19 in Sri Lanka, Independent Commission of Health and Development, India, Voluntary Health Association of India, New Delhi, March 2021, and Achieving Health for All Primary Health Care in Action, Bishai D. Shelf M. Chapter 11, Sri Lanka's Health Improvement as an Example of Implementation of Alma Ata Declaration, John Hopkins University Press, Baltimore, 2020. He serves as a visiting lecturer at the Faculty of Medicine and at the Postgraduate Institute of Medicine, PGIM, of the University of Colombo, and is an accredited trainer in MSc and MD in Community Medicine. He has held teaching appointments at Brandeis University and Wisconsin University in the United States of America and has lectured in over 12 universities around the world. Dr. Ariyaratne has been a founding member and the coordinator of the People's Health Movement, PHM, in Sri Lanka, which is a network of grassroots health organizations working on advocacy related to health rights. The PHM, Sri Lanka works on health rights, including rights of persons living with HIV/AIDS, commercial sex workers, LGBTQ, national drug policy, anti-tobacco policy, and other contemporary health issues. Since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, Dr. Ariyaratne has been extensively involved in both community level and national level action to educate the public, provide care and assistance to affected individuals and families. He serves as the co-chair of the United Nations Humanitarian Country Team, UNHCT, Health Cluster, which was established in April 2020. This is the main platform for UN agencies, bilateral and multilateral development partners and the diplomatic community to engage in dialogue with all stakeholders involved in COVID-19 response in Sri Lanka. His key contributions to COVID-19 prevention and control in Sri Lanka include publishing community manuals on COVID-19 prevention and control, vaccination, countering misinformation, disinformation, and stigma and discrimination, training community leaders, including religious leaders in COVID-19 prevention and control activities, conducting baseline studies and research on compliance on public health social measures, setting up a humanitarian helpline for COVID-19 affected individuals and families, setting up and hosting at a Sarvodaya facility a 100-bed intermediate care ICC facility to COVID-19 patients in Tanamalwila in collaboration with Uva Provincial Council Health Department, being the co-convener of the Civil Society Collective for COVID-19 in Sri Lanka, a platform consisting of over 30 national and district level civil society organizations, CSOs, providing humanitarian assistance to COVID-19 affected individuals and to over 800 care homes around the country. Member of the informal expert group on lessons learned from COVID-19 pandemic convened by the WHO CRO in October 2021. Vinya is married to Pramita Madara Ariyaratne, attorney at law, who is the chief manager legal of NDB Bank, and they are blessed with 2 children, Hasala, who is a second year law student at Georgetown University, and Aseni, who is a graduate in economics and statistics, currently undergoing professional training in financial management company in the United States of America. Dr. Vinya Ariyaratne is one public health professional who have always kept his feet on the ground and in touch with the pulse of the people while working on issues at national and international arena. Ladies and gentlemen, I think he have a lot more to tell. This is a very, very, very shortened summary of all his achievements as a public health specialist in the country, and it is my actually honor, privilege, and I am very happy person today because I got the chance to induct the second community physicians or the public health specialist as the SLMA president, because I am also the similar public health specialist in Sri Lanka. So congratulations, Vinya. And in another vein, let me tell you a little bit of how long I have known him. So to start with, my mother, who was a Mahindian in Gaul, knew Dr. Ariyaratne in Mahinda. I haven't met you, sir, but my mother has told me, and with contemporaries like Professor Nandadasa Kodakuda and Mr. Dharma Gunasinghe, who was a Nalanda principal, long time back. So my parents and his parents knew each other. And then my mother was a teacher and he taught at Nalanda, and actually Mr. Dharma Gunasinghe sir was the person who took her. We went out of Colombo, and when we came back, and she taught there, and she has taught Vinya in Nalanda also. And then I knew about Vinya, but I met him when we did MD Part 1 in community medicine. Both of us did MD Part 1 together. So, and since then our paths have regularly crossed each other. Both were community physicians, and we have worked together. Very nice person. SLMA is really privileged, fortunate to get his services because he's a very busy person, and giving 1 year of his life to the SLMA. Thank you very much, Vinya. And again, let me tell you, it is my privilege, honor, and really luck most probably to get the chance to induct Dr. Vinya Ariyaratne, another specialist in community medicine, as the SLMA president. Wish you all the very best, the new president of the SLMA.
Thank you, sir. May I invite Professor Samat Dharmaratne and Dr. Vinya Ariyaratne to come forward for the proceeding. Congratulations, sir. I would like to invite you to deliver the presidential address. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Sri Lanka Medical Association, Dr. Vinya Ariyaratne.
Good evening. Professor Samath Dharmaratne, the outgoing President, Chairman and members of the Board of Trustees of the Sri Lanka Medical Association, past Presidents, Council members and members of the Sri Lanka Medical Association, Excellencies, invitees representing government ministries, state institutions, academia, UN agencies, statutory bodies, national and international civil society and professional organizations, professional colleges, academic colleges, and all other distinguished invitees. It's with great pleasure, pride, and humility that I stand before you as the 129th President of the Sri Lanka Medical Association. When I first applied and obtained the life membership of the Sri Lanka Medical Association on 2nd of October 1998, 9 years after qualifying as a doctor, I never dreamt of assuming this coveted position of SLMA President 25 years later. I consider it a singular honor, especially as a medical professional who has spent a larger part of his life in healthcare interventions and policies, promoting health and well-being of communities outside the state and private health sectors or academia. I sincerely thank the past presidents and the members of SLMA for the confidence and trust placed on me to hold this prestigious position. I wish to first provide an overview of the evolution of the healthcare system in Sri Lanka to provide a contextual basis for presenting my plans, our council's plans for the next year. Health and well-being has affected, disease has affected humankind since the beginning of human civilization. Causality of disease and illness have been attributed to various causes, including supernatural forces. Various systems of healing, which are called health systems, today too have evolved based on this social cultural milieu. As a nation with a recorded history of over 2,500 years and where Buddhism has taken deep roots, the teachings of Buddha has influenced the notions of health and well-being than any other social phenomenon. In Buddhism, health is regarded as the highest gain in life, and the Dhammapada states, Arogya Paramalabha, Santutti Paramandanang, Viswasa Paramanyati, Nibbanam Paraman Sukham. That is, health is the greatest gain, contentment is the greatest health, trust is the best relative, and Nibbana is the greatest bliss. Additionally, Buddhism holds that providing care for the sick is a virtuous act of the highest merit. When you look at the evolution of the health system in Sri Lanka, the history of health system in Sri Lanka dates to over 2 millennia. One of the critical factors that positively affected and continues to affect the health status of the people of Sri Lanka is our geographical positioning as an island nation. Medical historians agree that this surmounts to be an important physical characteristic and observes that Sri Lanka was insulated to a larger extent from external forces. However, foreign relations, invasions, and colonial encounters influenced our systems of medicine, diseases, and shaped our cultural attitudes and practices towards health. Introduction of Buddhism from North India in the 3rd century BC during the reign of King Devanampiyatissa marked the beginning of the tradition of medical care in ancient Sri Lanka. During the pre-colonial era, royal patronage was offered to preserve health and to extend health care for ordinary people. A few of the ruling kings were native physicians themselves. From ancient times, the healthcare system in Sri Lanka have evolved in the most diverse and fascinating ways to be what it is today. The traditional systems of medicine in Sri Lanka have two components: the truly indigenous system, which existed prior to the advent of King Vijaya, which were handed down through the generations and came to be known as Deshiya Chikitsa or Sinhala Vedakama. The second component is, of course, Ayurveda. Prior to the 19th century, the indigenous population of Sri Lanka relied almost entirely on the indigenous system or traditional medicine for healthcare. Even after the introduction of allopathic medicine, the Western medicine, a sizable proportion of the population continued to rely on traditional systems of medicine. However, the Deshiya Chikitsa, the real indigenous system, does not seem to exist in its original form today due to the influence of other systems of medicine, including Ayurveda and allopathic medicine. Allopathic medicine, or popularly what is known as the Western system, was introduced by the Portuguese at the beginning of the 19th century. And they were followed, the Dutch, who followed the Portuguese as the next colonial power, controlling the coastal areas, built hospitals in different parts of the country. They were run by Dutch physicians and surgeons. The British, who ruled the country from 1815, were then responsible for the expansion of the allopathic system of healthcare in Sri Lanka, initially to cater to the colonial workforce, but later expanded to serve the local population. Amongst the most important structures created during the British rule was the establishment of the health unit system in Kalutara in 1926 to undertake preventive health work, maternal and child health work in some, and also in the same year, the preventive and curative services were brought under one administration. And this continues to today as the medical officer of health areas or units in Sri Lanka. The granting of universal adult franchise in 1932 had a profound impact on health and education in Sri Lanka. The granting of universal franchise helped to expand health services as the elected representatives were forced to respond to the needs of their constituents. The broad state-led welfare system, which also included free education, also has had a positive impact on the health status of the population even to date. The allopathic system of care continued to expand up until independence in 1948. By 1945, the government has expanded free medical care to almost all parts of the country through a network of rural hospitals, 13 specialized hospitals, 250 central dispensaries, and over 600 branch dispensaries and visiting stations. It has been reported that during the 2 decades between 1945 and 1965, the expansion of medical facilities was able to keep pace with the growing population demands, and what is termed as good health at low cost started during that period, which resulted in a significant decrease in mortality rates. If you look at infant mortality rate, maternal mortality, all that has started to decline starting from that period after the malaria epidemic was controlled. An important landmark in the evolution of the healthcare system in Sri Lanka has been the Kumston report published in 1950. Dr. J.H.L. Kumston, the Director General of Health Services of Australia, was invited by the then government to report on the working of the Medical and Public Health Organization of Ceylon and to advise the government on the nature of reforms and improvements that are required to be made. An Act of Parliament titled the Health Services Act, Act number 12 of 1952, was enacted and formed the legal basis to operationalize the health services for the next 3 decades. In the late 1970s, the health system was subjected to a review, most probably influenced by the Alma-Ata Declaration in 1978. Alma-Ata Declaration is the declaration by WHO and UNICEF on primary health care, and the result led to an organization model to restructure the health system based on the fundamentals of primary health care. However, this model of Gramoday health centers with divisional directorates of health services, or DDHS, did not last for long. The new government, which assumed office in 1994, appointed a committee to formulate a new national health policy. Accordingly, a new national health policy was presented, and it was claimed that no attention has been made since 1952 to improve the curative care division, which included the directorates of medical services, laboratory services, and dental services. So they were isolated attempts, and the 1996 health policy attempted to address that shortcoming. In 2014, a comprehensive process was initiated to review the health sector over a period of 3 years, that is between 2014 and 2016. As a country which is facing an epidemiological transition from communicable to non-communicable diseases, it was observed that the primary care for non-communicable diseases, which are chronic diseases which now are predominant in the disease pattern of Sri Lanka compared to earlier decades where infectious diseases were more prevalent, and the primary care for NCDs was not comprehensive and unlinked to community and specialized care, and thus underutilized. So when it comes to human resources for health, there was an inappropriate skill mix at the primary level, and also inequitable distribution of human resources for health. Secondly, in continuity of care, there is bypassing of primary care, no referral protocols, and few links of facility and curative to community and preventive care. And also in the supply chain management, there are significant gaps in supply of pharmaceuticals for NCD management at the primary care level. Finally, in terms of the health information management, patients are not uniquely identified, information is not shared across providers and databases. So the efficiency was affected. Now, to respond to these and other health sector challenges, a new health policy, the Sri Lanka National Health Policy 2016 to 2026, and a National Strategic Framework for Health Development 2016 to 2025 was launched in 2016. This proposed the implementation of a significant reform in the healthcare system of Sri Lanka, and it represents a pivotal moment in the evolution of healthcare provision in the country. It was a significant step towards improving overall health and well-being of the population of Sri Lanka. Those of us who are working in public health and who have a bias towards community-based healthcare, we welcome this new reorientation of the health system. This new health policy, which was adopted in December 2017, aimed to reorganize primary healthcare, improve healthcare provision through data utilization, and strengthen the overall health sector. This policy was developed through a technical consultation process, and interventions were identified each of the areas of focus. Then the World Bank, and I'm happy that World Bank senior officer responsible for this project is present in this audience today. The World Bank supported Sri Lanka's new healthcare policy through the launch of the Primary Healthcare System Strengthening Project, or what is known as PSSP, in 2017-18, which is considered a flagship project to implement this new health policy. The PSSP aims to reorganize primary healthcare system and reinforce the integration of preventive and curative care. 4 years on, since the inception of this project, we see very significant results towards transformation of our health system, adopting innovative tools such as a grievance redress mechanism and a citizens engagement mechanism through what you call the Friends of Health Services committees. Suwaseva Mituru. I was also privileged to be part of formulating this particular model during the planning stage of this project. It is our fervent hope that these and other successful new tools and models become mainstreamed in our healthcare system so that it becomes more efficient, effective, and responsive to the needs of people. Let me now draw your attention to the present crisis that we face as a nation today. I wish to go beyond the more obvious challenges in the health sector, COVID-19 and emerging pandemics, the changing epidemiological pattern, food and nutrition crisis, shortage of medicinal drugs, etc. I wish to focus more on the much deeper social crisis we are facing today and our response as a responsible profession and a responsible national organization. Redefining our role and rethinking our morality. Sri Lanka is currently experiencing an unprecedented, multifaceted crisis that is rooted in economic, political, and governance issues, as well as a systemic failure. The people's struggle of 2022 confirmed this and reflected that people, and most importantly, the next generation of our country, which is 23% of the population, 4.3 youngsters in this country between the ages of 16 and 29, aspire better systems in place that includes better health services and also related outcomes. One of the proximate causes of the crisis is attributed to professionals in this country, including the medical community, leading to increased societal pressure for redefinition and strengthening of ethical standards in all professions, including the medical profession. As politicians are being called upon to listen to the people, support reforms, uphold justice, there is an equal expectation for the medical community to take responsibility for past mistakes, implement necessary reforms, and uphold ethical principles at the core of our profession. Is it possible to identify any potential advantages arising from a state of disequilibrium? The quest for finding answers to our questions may lie in taking a systems view of the situation or a holistic view. As a system, we are in a state of disequilibrium. Physicists describe it as a state that is far from equilibrium. These states encourage creativity, innovations, and new thinking. They are characterized by another interesting concept, namely the butterfly effect. To illustrate, it is a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil, leading to a cascade of events that ends up as a storm in the Indian Ocean. In other words, a small intervention could have a huge impact on the system. I am convinced and I believe that current state of disequilibrium in our society presents a unique opportunity for creativity and growth. The people's struggle or the Aragalaya represented us the very momentous opportunity, and it should be our calling and responsibility as a nation to sincerely respond to it. The Sinhala language has a powerful phrase called Buddhi Kalambanaya, which speaks to this concept. In ancient mythology, such as Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita, the eternal struggle between chaos and order is referred to as Deva Asura Sangramaya. In this mythical cosmic battle between Dharma and Adharma, the ocean was churned, and from the depths of the ocean surfaced the Kalpa Bruksha, the tree that fulfills the wishes, and most importantly, the physician of the gods known as Dhanvantari appears, and holding Amrit or Amruta, the supreme medicine of life. Although these references are rooted in mythology and symbolism, the teachings of our ancestors suggest that from a state of disequilibrium and chaos, something long-lasting and transformative could arise. This current moment in our society offers a chance to navigate this tension, emerge stronger and together. So, can doctors be agents of social change? Actually, we have seen during the last 1 year so many doctors coming forward out of their clinical sort of territories, boundaries, and speaking out on issues related to people. It is in this dynamic, unpredictable, and non-linear situation that I propose my theme for the year, which is towards humane healthcare, excellence, equity, community. I think you may be familiar with this ornamental weapon, the Trishula, a common feature of Hindu art and literature. The Trishula is a weapon which with 3 spikes symbolizing various trinities of human existence, past, present, and future, body, mind, and the soul, clarity, knowledge, and wisdom. The trinity that we hope to carry in our quest for a more humane healthcare is excellence, equity, and community. These are interrelated concepts. By excellence, I mean excelling in clinical work. We have many clinicians who are contributing significantly to the health and well-being of our people amidst serious resource constraints throughout the country. They are excelling not only in clinical work but in health promotion, prevention, rehabilitation, and palliative care. This, I believe, can be achieved through effective governance mechanisms that are transparent, accountable, and inclusive. The demand for equity was a fundamental call by the youth and citizens of this country. This is a call that is very close to my heart, and I believe we must heed to this call through actions at the level of the health system, the social determinants of health inequalities, and community engagement. It is imperative that healthcare system aligns with the needs of the population, responds to the changing needs, and actively involves citizens to improve overall health and well-being. Me and my council, the composition of which I am proud to say reflects the diversity of our nation in terms of ethnicity, religion, specialization within the medical profession, and most importantly, with a set of dynamic and competent young professionals in the front line, backed by 3 generations of elders who will continue to be the guiding light with their wisdom to direct our work in the coming year. One of the key mechanisms of the SLMA is the expert committees, which Samath referred to earlier. Expert committees consists of subject specialists in different aspects of healthcare, ranging from health promotion, prevention, clinical care, research, rehabilitation, and palliative care. While we continue to strengthen the existing expert committees, I propose to create a new or broaden the scope of existing committees to achieve the goal of humane healthcare. We need to work on finding sustainable financing options for providing universal healthcare. How we address issues related to human resources in the health sector, shortages of medicinal drugs, improving efficiency, enhancing ethical practice, and accountability. We will continue to engage with the public and policymakers more vigorously. I commit with my council to pursue on this noble mission, and I seek your support as fellow professionals and Sri Lankan citizens who love our nation. Our motto, Lanka Deepasa Kichesu Mapamaji. Let's work for the good of all Sri Lankans without delay. Nopamawa සියලු ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයින්ගේ හිත සුව පිණිස වැඩ කරමු. Thank you. Acknowledgements. First and foremost, I wish to pay my gratitude to my beloved parents, Dr. A.T. Ariyaratne and Mrs. Neeta Ariyaratne, and I am so fortunate to have their presence here today as I become the 129th President of SLMA. I really thank them for educating me and also bringing me up in a way to be more compassionate and to be more sensitive to the other and to be of service to others. And my wife Madara, my life partner, and my 2 children, Hasala and Aseni, for their patience and support and given me freedom to follow a different path as a professional. It is with deep gratitude that I remember late Professor Nandadasa Kodagoda, late Professor Carlo Fonseca, late Professor Dulita Fernando, and my father-in-law, late Professor Nandasena Ratnapala, and my mother-in-law, Mrs. Neeta Ratnapala, who have contributed, who have encouraged and motivated me to study medicine and become a community physician. I also wish to sincerely extend my appreciation to Professor Leela Karunaratne and Professor S. Sivayogan, Professor Antoinette Pereira, Professor Narada Varnasurya, and Professor Mohan De Silva, who were my mentors and colleagues at the Faculty of Medical Sciences at the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. And Professor Lalani Rajapaksha, I know, Madam, that you are watching this from Africa, and Professor Rohini Seneviratne, I think Madam is in the audience. I am so grateful to both of you for being mentors to become a good community physician. Last but not least, I wish to thank my colleagues at Sarvodaya, the staff, and hundreds of volunteers from all parts of Sri Lanka, belonging to all communities, all ethnic groups, who joined me in serving the community through the community health work I have undertaken throughout the last 3 decades of my life. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and congratulations once again. Wishing you the very best for a successful tenure. Our special artist tonight has yet another captivating performance in store for us. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together once again for Visharada Jagat Vikramasinghe. would like to invite the President of the Sri Lanka Medical Association, Dr. Vinya Ariyaratne, to present the Past President's Medal to Professor Samath Dharmaratne in recognition of the exemplary service rendered during his tenure. All right, so I believe it's only apt that we conclude tonight with a performance by our award-winning artist once again. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Visharada Jagat Vikramasinghe.
What a performance, ladies and gentlemen. Please put your hands together once more for Professor Jagat Vikramasinghe.
All right, so with this we conclude the ceremonial induction of the 129th President of the Sri Lanka Medical Association. Ladies and gentlemen, it was indeed an honor to have you with us. On behalf of the Sri Lanka Medical Association, I would like to thank you for gracing this event. May I request you to rise for the ceremonial procession to leave the hall. Yes, I will tell them. We kindly invite all of you to join us for dinner at the Sophia Hall in the main building of the BMICH. Thank you and have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen.